Hi everyone, it's Jack from the Klutzy Outdoorsman. So in filming the video that I'm editing right now, there wasn't really a proper intro involved in it. So I want to talk a little bit about the content that you guys are going to be watching in this video. So Laura and I had the pleasure of going and meeting with the owner of Tethrd, which is located in Jordan, Minnesota, which is about an hour and a half away from where we live. Now, Tethrd is a tree saddle company specifically designed for saddle hunting. A tree saddle is an alternative to a tree stand for bow and gun hunting. And if you're curious on what a tree saddle is, how it's supposed to fit, different tactics, how to shoot out of it, most of your questions will be answered in the actual video's content. So sit back, get your popcorn ready, because this is going to be a pretty long video because we have a lot of discussions on everything involved in tree saddle hunting. If you have any questions, definitely post them down in the comment section below. I'll try to help you out as best I can. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy watching the video, give her a thumbs up, and if you want to see future content, be sure to hit that subscribe button.
Basically, the way Tethrd happened, you're familiar with the saddlehunter.com forum?
Yes and no.
Okay. So, on saddlehunter.com, move Ernie, it's a big DIY community.
Yeah.
It's, for the longest time, you couldn't, bring that around. Thanks, bud. For the longest time, you couldn't buy saddle hunting equipment except for like used, or maybe from one or two different places. You had to make it, and half the time in order to make it, you were buying stuff all over the place.
Right.
And so I was pretty big into the DIY crowd there, and at that point, you couldn't buy a decent platform. There just wasn't one. You could get like a ring of steps, but to actually get a decent platform, you ended up having to make them. Here's one of my very first ones that I made. Basically, it was the top of a lone wolf tree stand that you scavenged, and then you'd buy aluminum tubing and standoff brackets, and then this would make your platform. And this is all there was for years. So a group of us got together on saddlehunter.com, and we were in this like back chat room, and we started designing, okay, what would go in the ideal platform?
Right.
Tossing ideas around and whatever. For about 6 months, this kind of went on, and we kind of came up with a pretty good idea, and we're just getting ready to do it. What I didn't know was in the background, Greg had been working on a saddle.
Who's that?
Greg Godfrey, he's my partner.
Okay.
And so he runs a YouTube channel, G2 Outdoors.
Okay, sure.
Yep. And so if for like basic saddle hunting, you can't find a better resource.
Yeah.
G2 Outdoors is awesome.
Yep.
So anyways, he was working on a saddle, and he had been kind of dealing with this, and one day he calls me up and he says, hey, I know that you're working on a platform. I got this saddle. We should kind of team up. All right, and that's kind of how Tethrd was born. And believe it or not, we had never met face to face.
Oh, okay. So you just did it right across the forum.
Right through the forum. We'd never met face to face. And then this was in December, January time. In February, I met him at Saddlepalooza.
Okay.
And we'd kind of gone over a couple ideas, kind of cemented everything, and Tethrd was born. Wow. And then it was off to the races.
Wow.
So I was able to help, and we got a few more people's involved. We got about 5 or 6 guys involved for like influence and whatever else, and we said, okay, let's build this thing, and how can we do it? We took all of their input and kind of turned it into what is Tethrd today.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of how it started. I mean, Greg and I, we had never met face to face, and we started a company, and then all of a sudden we met at Saddlepalooza. We're like, yep, let's do this. And by, I don't know, maybe 6 months later, we were mailing our first saddles out.
Wow.
So he had most of the work done.
So when did this all get started then?
Loosely the fall of 2017.
Oh, so this is a really new company.
Yeah, we've actually only been like an LLC and in business for a year.
Wow.
Yep. So we're really new at this.
Gotcha. Well, so far it seems like you're doing pretty well.
We're I don't know. It's hard to gauge, right?
Sure.
I'm way behind on orders. We're, but it seems like people like the stuff.
Right.
It's testing well. We've been through a bunch of different testing schedules, and the people in the industry are really enjoying it. You know, we've made some really cool partnerships from people who, you know, they're partnerships. It is what it is, but they really believe in the product. Otherwise, they wouldn't partner up with us.
Right.
So we've been working with guys like the Hunting Public and Mark Kenyon from Hard to Hunt, and a few other little. John Eberhardt's a huge one. We knew we had something when we went to John Eberhardt's house and surprised him. We went there and we set up all the cameras and we set all the stuff up, and then he said, "Hey, come on in, John, and look at it." And that was the first time he'd ever seen it. And we caught his initial reactions on film that first day, and he was blown away.
Huh.
It's the first commercial saddle he's ever used since 1980. He's been hunting out of his homemade saddle for 30 years, and this is the first time he's ever liked a commercially built saddle enough to use it himself.
Wow.
So yeah, that's kind of how that is. So we have some great people. Like I said, a lot of guys who've done this for a long time, giving input.
Right.
You had said you'd first got introduced through the First Light and Taylor Chamberlain and his little movie.
Yep.
He's a big input. You know, he puts all kinds of information to us and whatever else. And he's a diehard saddle guy.
The other influence I had was through DIY Sportsman, and I think he goes out of a Kestrel.
He hunts out of a few different things. It depends on what it is.
Yeah.
He was monumental in the design of the platform.
Okay.
Garrett, DIY Sportsman, actually did most of the CAD work on the platform.
Interesting.
Yep. So he was part of that little backroom secret group that developed the platform.
Huh.
He's actually listed on all the patents, and yeah,
That's awesome.
He was involved heavily in the platform. And actually, I don't know if you know this, but he lives right here in the cities.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He's been around. He's been a ton of help. He's been instrumental in you know, he's another engineer. He's another smart cat.
Is he an engineer?
Yep. He's an engineer. He's a smart cat. So he's been able to kind of point out where we needed to adapt or fix and actually implement some of those changes. So
cool.
Yeah, that's been really cool.
Dad, where can we put this?
Where can you put that?
Up there.
How about we put it in the tree, bud?
Where?
So how do you get into a saddle?
Okay, so I've got a couple of things here we can kind of go over.
Yeah.
Did I bring? I'm gonna have to go grab a rope.
Sure, that's fine. Really?
Yeah.
Did you make them a little bit heavier just for more sound construction?
Yep, we wanted to add a little beefiness to it so we could get a little more weight capacity to it.
Right.
It was some of the guys felt it was too spongy.
Sure, maybe a little flimsy.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't. It just had a perception, right? But they wanted it to be a little stiffer so it didn't flex under their feet as much.
Gotcha.
And so we went ahead and beefed it up. I'm really happy with the outcome of it.
Yeah, it looks sweet and it feels solid.
Yeah, and once we get one set up in the tree here, I'll let you see it.
Right. So in comparison to a tree stand, how much lighter is going to a tree saddle?
So here's where, you know, are you a backpack camper or are you an ultralight backpack camper?
Learning.
Well, I
right?
just going by our trip to Pennsylvania, we bring everything but the kitchen sink.
Exactly, right. So saddle hunting can be as light or as heavy as you want it.
Sure.
Right? There are guys who are running really small ropes.
Okay.
And they're running, you know, real light things. And then there's guys who like a little more comfort and have a few other pieces with them. You know, I don't walk too far, a mile, maybe two.
That's about as far as you're gonna go for deer hunting.
Yeah, and
that's in the way back.
Yep, that's in the way back. But here's the deal: my entire setup, even when I go heavy, I'm talking 1/2-inch ropes, and I bring in rope mends that weigh extra. Let's see, my saddle's just over 1 pound. My spurs are 2 pounds 6 ounces. My platform's 3.5, 4-ish. So I'm at 8-9 pounds.
That's it.
And that's my stand, my safety harness, my platform, and my way to get up the tree.
Yep.
You know, so it just kind of depends on what you're doing. You know, if you're carrying sticks in, there's a lot of options for different sticks for ways to get up and down the tree. You know, and different companies make different ones that are heavier or lighter. And you know, you can spend a good amount of money on a set of sticks.
Right.
You know, the Hunting Beast makes a real light, really nice stick. But you know, you pay for what you get. In order to get that quality and that convenience, they got a pretty nice price tag to them.
Right.
So I'm gonna just get this stuff set up here.
So that it looks like it's actually pretty easy to get into and set up.
Oh sure. It's easier, I think, than any of your fall restraint harnesses that you would wear with a normal tree stand anyways, right? So if you're in a tree stand, you gotta wear something from HSS or maybe the harness that came with the tree stand itself,
which is questionable at best.
Well, yeah, they don't inspire a lot of confidence.
Exactly.
So that, for the most part, is getting your saddle on. You can tuck this into your belt.
That's your bridge right there.
That's your bridge. Okay. And then this is your walk in. Now you can add a platform, throw this on your back. You can have your spurs in your hand, whatever. I take a very small backpack that has my platform, my spurs, my kill kit, and maybe a change of like a jacket or something for early season.
Sure.
So there's that. Over here I've got just a simple climbing stick on the tree.
Right.
Which, by the way, those are made by Stacked Outdoors.
Okay.
They're awesome.
So what are those climbing sticks made out of then?
They're I believe, a glass-filled, like a glass-filled nylon plastic. And they are plastic, but that makes them light. Right. They're nice because they stacked onto themselves. So
I see.
That's where they get the name Stacked. And then they've got a little bit of a, as you push them down and lock them in, they spread a little bit and bite in. So one nice thing about these is, in a pinch, in a run and gun and whatever else in a pinch, if you don't want to carry a bunch of stuff, you can use the top of that stick as a platform.
Sure.
It's big enough that a guy can get off and do a few shots right on the top of that stick. So it adds that little bit of convenience to it. All right. So when I get to a tree, I'll put my first stick on or whatever, and I got my platform. I've installed a little night eyes tie.
Okay.
The reason is I can then tie it right onto anywhere on the saddle, right? I could put it through a loop, I can put it through a bunch of different places. But the idea is I can attach it to my saddle. So
what's that little doohickey called?
It's a night eyes gear tie.
Okay.
You can get them at just about any hardware store.
Sure.
So it's hanging here, right?
It's on your body.
Yep. I don't put it there until I get to the tree, simply because it flops around when you're walking or whatever else. It's just
on your back.
Yep. So for me, I get to a tree, I got my stick on, and has a prusik knot on here to adjust. So attach my lineman's loop on, and then I can start pulling the tree. Okay? Like I said, when I got to here, if I really wanted to, I could just tie in and use this as a platform. There's a lot of foot space up here built right in. But for the purposes of this, let's say that's not what I'm doing. Then
around your lineman.
Tie it around my lineman's belt.
Nice.
And what that does is it lets me be hands-free.
Sure.
We have that strap. Because trying to get this strap on, when you trying to hold the platform, it can be a little tricky. But like this, I'm able to install my strap, get it tight. And what you want to do is tighten down the strap while the platform is folded up. Give it a push down, a good solid push, and then kind of cam it over.
Ah.
And what
that
that's
really
going to do,
bites it into the wood there.
Yep, it bites in and grabs. So then I'm at that point, right? Then I reach into my other pocket. I pull out my my tether, and the tether has a larger loop on the end.
Sure.
And the idea there being, it allows you to bring your carabiner through the root. Yep. So I put this up as high as I can reach for
Sure.
this step. We can adjust it later. And then I bring this down. At that point, I grab my bridge, clip in, lock my carabiner, and then I can kind of slide this up and then step onto my platform. This is the point where I would make some adjustments. Set things where I want it, get the slack out of my rope. Okay, everything is all kind of where I want it. At that point, I can undo my lineman's loop.
You can just kind of bundle it all
Yep,
up and
well,
stick
and
it in
then I
that
toss
pouch.
it right in this pocket. So that it's there for when I want to get down or whatever else. It's right there ready to go. And this is, now since I had two pockets, this one's still open.
Yep.
This is where I put my cell phone, maybe a call, whatever. It's open until I need to put my rope back in there.
Right.
But at this point, I'm hunting.
Right.
And I'm ready to go. One thing you can do on the Generation 2 platforms that are a little more beefed up, you can put your foot right here,
Sure.
kind of lift that up just a little bit, and it's going to set that strap a little tighter, and then you can really lock it in, and then that'll lock in a lot tighter.
Gotcha.
And then from here, I mean, you're hunting. Something like this. My bow is right here. I'm a lefty.
Sure. Okay.
And this is kind of my situation for how I would go through my hunt. Depending on how I want to sit or lean, I can adjust where this is. I can bring my joystick higher or lower. Joystick higher or lower.
Gotcha.
You know, just kind of shift and adjust. But this is kind of the gist of how you would get up and sit.
So for shot angles, what would be considered your strong side?
For me, it's right here.
Right there.
Because I'm a
On your
lefty, right? So my goals are my right hand side. So I try to set up. If I take a line and kind of go this way, right? So out of the tree this way and back to here.
Right.
That's my money shot. Because I can grab my bow and with a little pivot, I can reach all of this without much work.
Right. Very minimal movement.
Yep. And even if I want to, a little bit of pivot on my hips, I can get over to here.
Right.
It's this spot right here that gets tricky.
The right up in front on this right
it's
side.
on my weak side, right? So it's about a quarter of a triangle right here,
Sure.
okay? Or not a triangle, a quarter of a circle, right? And so what some guys will do, they'll take their bow and bring it up over the tree and down, and now you've got access to all of this.
Right.
Or you can put like a step on the back side of the tree,
Yep.
and you can step around like this. And now I've got access to that same thing. Or on the Predator, because you've got so much square foot for working, you can actually just
Pivot around.
right and put your bridge behind you. You know, so it's going up over your shoulder and out of the way. All this is out, and you've got access to shoot like this. That's why we
Right.
call it a pivot style platform. Is because you can pivot around.
Right.
So yeah, it's
So any shot angle, you got it.
yeah, and you know, how many times, I mean, let's be realistic. How many times you're sitting in your normal tree stand, you're sitting like this, you're set up so that your strong side is where you're gonna be sitting. You pick a tree and you pick your direction that you're facing so it's easy to shoot that way.
Right.
But inevitably something goes on behind you.
200-inch Boone and Crockett comes in right behind you.
Yep. In a traditional tree stand,
You're screwed.
What do you do, right? I'm going to turn this around a little bit. In this situation, I put my prime shots in front of me here and right here, right?
Yep.
But let's put that deer behind me, right? It's the same thing. I'm primarily facing this way, but if the deer comes in behind me, I can pivot my hips, and I've got that shot behind me.
Right.
Whereas it may be a little more movement, but it's possible.
Right.
It's not even possible in a normal tree. So, yes, you know, one of the arguments is, well, it takes too much movement and whatever else. It's all relative, right? A little bit more movement to take a shot or not get the shot.
Right.
So that's kind of the way that goes. And just like anything else, if you're slow and controlled in your movements, you can get away with a lot.
Sure.
Especially if it's in front of you like this. If you were to stand on that side and look this way, you might see my bow, a little bulge on the side here, but for the most part, I'm hidden behind the tree, but I'm still watching everything there, right?
Exactly.
So, and even if I gotta grab my bow and move into here, I'm not creating the profile that you would see on any kind of a normal ladder stand or tree stand or anything like that. So, try one of these on?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Here's the deal. I think you're probably gonna wear the same one I just put on.
Yeah, we look about the same size.
Yep, I was thinking that. Now this is a large.
Yeah.
I like a large simply because it gives me a little more room for winter clothing.
I was gonna say, like,
I can
if you
get
put on
away with a
bibs or
medium.
something like that.
Yeah.
The large would fit better.
Yeah, I can get away with a medium, but I personally just prefer the large.
Okay.
All right, so here you go. Basically, I'm gonna unhook your leg loops. And at that point, I'll give it to you.
Okay. So you pretty much put it on like a t-shirt almost?
No, actually you
Or
step through it.
Step into it?
So grab
Okay.
your belt, right and left. So go ahead and let go of the bridge completely.
Yep.
Grab just the belt where my hands are. Yep. Step over the middle, in between here. Kind of pull it up to your hips and clip your belt. Yep. Yep, you got a little twist in there.
Oh, do I? Yeah, hold on. Untwisted.
So there, that's in place.
That's
Now
in
reach
there.
down into your legs and grab the leg straps. Each one of these hooks, you'll
Which
look
one
at
is
them.
which?
Yep, well, they're just facing opposite directions. So I
Okay.
like to have mine hooked down.
Sure.
So I would come up like this.
Okay, so then just go right up into those little loops there.
Yep, locked in. Your saddle is on.
Easy.
Super easy,
Yeah.
right? All right, so,
You don't feel restricted at all.
well, and you can always adjust or loosen, even if, you know, some of these leg stripes, if you would have put them on kind of tight, you can loosen this up, but there's not a lot of restriction going on there.
Right. Yeah. Cool. All right. So how do you get up and do a tree like this?
Okay, so let's come up to the tree and grab your lineman's belt. Like I said, this just goes around the tree.
And this is always pretty much attached
Yep.
to you.
At least for mine it is. Some people take it off and store it, so I always leave mine attached. And then clip it right into there. And then you can take the slack out just by sliding this knot up. So go ahead and hop up onto the stick and kind of lean back and you'll feel what that belt kind of does. You're okay. Yep, now let's get the belt up around here. And then take some of the slack out. And
So where would you grab that at then?
so I would grab right here with your right hand.
Okay.
Yep, and just kind of, there you go. Yeah, there you go. You ain't going nowhere.
Yep.
So
And if you
that's
do,
kind
it's
of
not
what
going to
keeps
hurt much.
Maybe my pride. It's on video.
So then that's kind of going to give you the support as you climb up. So the next
Gotcha.
thing, like I said, climb up onto your next step here and advance your lineman up as you go. Yep, there you go. Kind of lean into it.
Yep.
And that's how you can kind of work. Now before you step onto the platform, look
Got
into
it.
your bridge.
Okay.
Okay, now take the slack out of your bridge. So slide this knot up. Yep. There you go. That's probably good there.
Yep.
And now you can step up onto the platform. Now take some more slack out of there. Yep, that's probably good. And lean back.
Yep.
And then you can probably you can unclip this guy now. This is where the whole trust your rope thing is going to come into play.
Yep.
Yep, and just let it follow around. It'll fall around to the other side.
Whoa.
Yep.
This is weird.
Yep, lean back. You're saddle hunting.
Woo!
Now obviously it takes a little getting used to and a little practice to kind of figure out where to put your weight and how to do your balance, but you're up.
Wow. This feels weird.
Sure.
Is that most people's first reactions?
Well, if anybody who hasn't spent a lot of time climbing trees or mountain climbing, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Huh.
So try this. Pivot your hips in the same spot.
Okay.
And let the gray rope slide in the carabiner. See
Yep.
what you're doing? Keep going, keep going, keep going. Now you can get that same shot without having to wrap around the tree.
So like down here?
Yeah, because instead of having to wrap this foot around the tree and move as much as you can kind of pivot and let the am steel slide in your bridge. There you go. And kind of, yep.
Wow. Yeah, it doesn't feel like you're going anywhere in this.
Sure.
Not at all. And then so because I'm a righty, all this pretty much right here.
This is
my
your hard
off
shot
side.
right here.
Yep.
This is where you would bring the ball over the string. Yep, exactly. That's how you would get for that shot.
How's it for comfort?
For comfort, I would definitely have to get used to it. I would feel like I'd want it further down.
And you can do that.
My hips.
So what you can do, we make an adjuster that clips onto here that will kind of help with that. And the other thing is lower your belt down. It's a little high on your waist right now.
Okay.
So if you lower the entire saddle down, lower your belt down, and you may have to loosen up just a little bit. And now kind of sit back in.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Yep. The other thing that will help a lot is right now that tether is really high.
Okay.
It's above your head. I like to have mine about chin height.
About there.
Yep, and then cinch that rope up, and that's going to change that pressure angle a little bit. Because now it's pulling you more toward the tree instead of trying to pull the saddle up your body.
Yeah.
And so that lower tether makes a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. It is certainly comfortable.
Yeah, and if you kind of lean forward and put your knees into the tree, there you go.
Like that.
And then you can sit like that. A lot of guys will bring knee pads.
That's what I was going to say, knee pads. would
I wear
help
knee
out.
pads just so I can do that.
Yeah, this is actually really comfortable right here. Like
Yeah.
I'm leaning back and everything like that.
And we do have a back support band
Okay.
that can give you a higher support.
Sure.
When you get down, I'll put it on for you.
Okay.
But yeah, so we do have a back support band that would go on there as well. It's different, isn't it?
This is different. You know, when you're sitting in a tree stand, it's, if you've ever sat in a chair before, you've pretty much got the idea of a tree stand.
Yep, no, it's exactly, right? I mean, a caveman could walk up on a tree stand sitting at the base of a tree and figure out how to use it.
Right. But I could definitely see how having an extra step, like on the side.
Well, and some of it,
out.
you know, that definitely helps, but some of it's just getting used to it because you can actually kind of put one foot here
Sure.
and come around with your knee and kind of put a knee into the side. See, and then,
Kind of like that.
yep, and just kind of, there's lots of things we can do to kind of position and get balance that way too.
Right.
But I will tell you this, if I'm setting up a tree in advance and it's going to be there all year,
Right.
I will put those other steps on the backside.
Right.
And on a skinny tree, you know, a little smaller than this, like basketball size or smaller,
Sure.
you don't even need them.
Right.
Because the tree is so small compared
Pretty
to the
much.
platform. It's not very often you're in a 18-inch diameter tree
Right.
at hunting height. Once you're up 25, 30 feet, they get a lot skinnier.
Right. Exactly. Wow. This is an interesting experience.
Sure.
Yep.
So do you leave your tree stand then for the whole season up, or?
No, what I'll do is I'll put my presets, whether it's screw-in steps, bolts, whatever, and I'll leave those.
Okay.
And then I just leave a gap. So I'll have the steps in the tree.
Yep.
And I'll leave a gap for the platform, and I'll bring the platform in and out each time.
Okay.
Yep.
See, what's nice about the saddle, even though you're sitting in the saddle, you also have these leg straps.
Sure.
So you're pretty much
You're not going anywhere.
You're locked in place.
Yep.
So what would a guy need to get started in saddle hunting? Everything.
So it's bare basics. You need a saddle and a rope.
Sure.
That's I mean, past that, those are the bare basics.
Right.
Everything else from there, I really recommend a lineman's rope for climbing.
For sure.
For whatever, whether you're climbing up sticks, you got screwing steps, anything. I like being attached to the tree from the ground.
Yeah.
So I put that lineman's loop around on the ground and up I go. And then the next thing is kind of, okay, you need a climbing method, right? So if
Yep.
you're putting screw-in steps, whatever else, you got to get up the tree. So, you know, you need a saddle and rope, but you got to get up there in the first place.
Yep.
And then once you get there, there's a lot of leeways as far as what you want to do. Different people do different things for platforms, whether it's screw-in steps or some people have strap-on steps for public land. Obviously, we have the Predator. That's
Yep.
kind of our go-to deal there. There's lots of different methods and ways that you can handle. And, you know, like I had mentioned, in a quick hunt, you can use the top of your climbing stick as a platform.
Sure.
You wouldn't have to actually step onto another platform if you didn't want to.
Right, exactly.
All right, so keep your feet close to the tree, kind of. Yep, right there. That'd be where your platform is. Remember?
Sure.
And then as you lean into that, we'll throw this on here.
Also, there's little buttons that go over into that little bit.
Yep. Button locks in. Button locks in there. All right, now go ahead and lean back.
Whoa.
World of difference, isn't it?
Dude, totally.
Yep, it's a world of difference.
That feels awesome.
And it takes that pressure off of here, doesn't it?
It does.
Yep.
A lot of pressure, actually. Wow. It wouldn't need to be adjusted, of course, but yeah, that takes off a lot of pressure from sides of your hips.
Sure.
And of course, you can still hunt with this guy on. Of
Oh yeah.
course.
And lean up for a minute. Show you how. What some guys will do is do like this and put a zip tie on there.
Sure.
Now lean back in.
Okay.
See how that kind of changes
A little
as
bit.
this slides up higher into this loop.
Yep.
It changes the pressure high or low.
It does. So when people zip tie, it just locks it.
It just locks it into a lower place. Yep.
Gotcha.
But I feel like you're too far away. That would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
So go ahead and stand up,
So you would
and
do-
let's. I'll show you what I do. So what I say and what I do are different.
Sure.
And I don't even run amp still on.
You don't
But-
run what?
I don't run this bridge
Okay.
because I like mine to be adjustable.
Sure.
So go ahead and kind of lean into that now, and it kind of changes that how far away from your tree you're pulling and whatever else.
Right. Couldn't you just adjust that with the
You can, but you run out of adjustment if this is too long.
Gotcha. So then what brand of bridge do you go with? Or do you just make one?
So gonna start putting whoopee sling bridges on these.
Okay.
We just haven't yet.
Sure.
But here's where last year.
Yeah. And him saying for people with back issues, a lot of them say.
I could really see having this. If you have back issues, makes a world of difference because you can put it exactly where you need it, higher or lower on your back.
Mm-hmm.
Laura, have anything to add to that?
No.
Not really?
Mm.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, just getting a saddle, man.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
That's probably what
The
I'm
more
gonna
people
do.
we can get, in a saddle of any sort. I mean, it's just it's such a unique and superior way to hunt, especially for public land guys.
That's what I was going to
You
say.
know,
If you're running and gunning.
Yeah, and for me, it's a passion. This is the way I hunt, so I like to teach other people and show them how to do it and get more people into the woods, right?
Exactly.
So,
Cool. Do you have a card?
I do, absolutely. I'll give you one.
Yeah.
Yep, I don't have it with me, but I'll get you one before we leave.
Sounds good.